So are you ready to jump in?
Yeah, should I have a hat on or hat off?
Listen, keep it fly, keep it classy. What's the name of your book? 49 So Fine. Let's keep it there, okay?
It's a good romance novel.
It is a good romance novel. So tell me about this. Well, first of all, just give me a little background. You're CEO that traveled or ended up in authorship. So tell me about that.
Well, listen, I had a background. I have a background in business, real estate development, investments, some renewable energy stuff. And as you get a little older, you start to want new ventures.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a few children's stories. I'm a 5-time award-winning children author in chapter books, like 100 pages with illustrations. And they're on Amazon. They did well. And I got another one coming out at the end of the year called The Land of Sugary, which is kind of a great little story about teaching kids to eat well. And it's called The Land of Sugary, the epic struggle between good stuff and bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And but I wanted something to challenge myself, and also I wanted to start a publishing company. So I wrote a novel called 49 So Fine. Sexy, steamy,
Ooh.
murder, death, love, insecurity, maturity, love and loving. It's what most people seek.
Okay.
To understand compassion, humility, fairness. Because if those elements are missing, love and loving's missing.
Okay, so this book is fiction, a work of fiction.
This book is a work of fiction, based in Philadelphia, and the protagonist Harold Longston is he's a successful businessman. The brother has dough, and he got it by hard work. He doesn't come from the street. He comes from a good background. He has male friends over the years and older men who has helped him along the way. And he meets up with them periodically, whether they're in Europe. Like this book travels from Philadelphia to Beverly Hills to the Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera.
Mm-hmm.
So staying in Cannes, partying. He's a rich dude with rich friends. And the women in the book, Yvette, Lynn, Diane, Tina DeFlippio, they are women that has become a part of his life, and and his cavalier way of living may produces some blowback. But he's a jazz aficionado. He loves jazz. He loves R&B, and the music helps him tell this story of love and romance and understanding. And he's a mature man. He understands himself, but he just has some bad habits. He likes fine women.
Okay, so he's realistic. Like he's a rich and successful guy that loves fine women.
Yeah, he's married once, raised his family. He's an independent guy now, and he's a sensible guy. He got divorced. All right, hey, here's X on the table. We can figure, why do we need attorneys? No. Here's we know how to split up 95% of it. Sure. We don't know about the other 5. Let's give it to charity or do whatever. But why waste money arguing?
Facts.
But anyway, that's a very small part of the story. The real essence of the story is him and these women. And it's steamy. I mean, and especially in the first half, it's steamy. He turns up with these ladies, and these ladies love him. And but his self-indulgence sometimes can get the best of him, and he has this muse, and she's that he hears, and she's a jazz artist that has passed on, and she talks to him, and she has him listening to Phyllis Hyman and Nancy Wilson and Mary J. Blige and Fantasia. So he's like, the music is the essence of life, and as she tells him in the story, you have to learn to look, life is music, but you got to learn to but you got to learn to look and listen. But you got to learn to listen to the great music, because all music is not great. But if you learn to listen to the great music, it'll help you find your way. All that kind of stuff.
All that dope stuff. So, in an insert that I read, it said the book will help men to unpack. So, tell me about that. How, in what ways could this book help men to unpack?
Well, it's not necessarily written for men. It's a story. It's a romance story. Mm-hmm. But because most romance novels are not written by men.
Right.
They take their initials and is it a man or a woman? But anyway, men read it from the point of view of he's a man just basically telling his story, because in the essence of it, he's a man that knows how to treat women respectfully. Mm-hmm. Now he has his proclivities that he likes fine women, but he basically gives attention to these women, at their beck and call, because he has access. He's well off. He has a successful company. They travel with him, and he's trying to find which one do I want in life, so to speak, And then old women come from his past, he sees, and he meets up with again, and he's falls in love. He falls in love easily.
Wow. Naively.
No, he falls in love easily.
Easily.
Yeah, easily. He's a passionate guy. He's a romantic guy. He as the women says, Harold, you're a romantic ass, but I love your romantic ass.
So you say that, or not you, but the character is looking for a soulmate. So does a soulmate even exist?
Well, he believes it does, and it's that thing beyond passion, and is the soulmate necessarily a female, or is that soulmate that finding that consciousness that allows you to center yourself and be happy with self and understanding self, and then when you go there, you can be happy with those around you and those that are involved in your life, I think. So. Okay.
Do you believe in soulmates? I know about the character, but what about the author?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hey, listen, perfect. Love is love. Love is exciting. And if you only have it for 2 or 3 years in your life, it's better to have it than not have it.
I don't know. It could get kind of depressing.
Oh, it will be that, because there is emotions and feelings and all of that.
That's
and
right.
So that kind of gets unpacked in the story. Mm-hmm. Because of his cavalier living, there's consequences. Women are getting hurt, et cetera, et cetera. So he realizes, there's some tragedies, there's drama, there's babies being born, So
wow.
It's traveling through life. Life is a lot.
Okay, so 49 So Fine. Tell me how you came up with that title.
Actually, it evolved to 49 So Fine. There's a little poem that goes, 49 so fine, yet so unaware, had excess children and money and access, but never a real love affair. 49 so fine, no one ever made her holler. Until Pierre. Hustling and fun was her game, shilling passion from that fine-ass frame. Never knew love nor ever came. Until Howell, taking her to her only lover's ring. 49 so fine, no one ever made her holler. 49 so fine, void of expressing orgasmic rhymes. Until Harold, long-stroked, 6th and 9'd her, so many times. Finally herself and feeling unknown to self. 49 so fine, awakened to your chord times. Now awakened to real love in real time. From the dark, murky water of life she has grown. Loved and being loved for the first time. So fine. That's on the back of the book.
Yes. I'm coming to see that live read, okay?
No, it's and the poem is much longer than that. It's about 3 times longer. But it's love and loving, and there's a difference between love and loving. But if you can put both of them together.
That's right. right.
You're gonna smile. You're gonna have fun.
You have used music as a basis for the book,
Yes.
and of course poetry. So, why was it important to do that, to combine those arts?
It's just an extension of the to help the narrative, but music tells the story. I mean, the songwriters and the singers from our beginning have sung about love and heartaches and romance. I mean, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Nancy Wilson, the old timers to even the young ones, Ellie Nye. So they talk about love and loving, and all those in the book. Bruno, Kiki, and Avant. I mean, their ideals, the songs those great songs that you sing 30 years later, 10 years later. These guys aren't one-hit wonders. They have understood the great music and have made a great music because perhaps something in their lives has allowed them to understand what creates great music.
Okay, so you modernized the book for to go with the times of now.
Yeah, it's he's just a jazz artist. So he's a guy that loves old jazz. He loves music, but he has learned to listen to the great music of life. And if it's rap, he's learned to listen to the great music of rap. KRS, Sister Soldier.
So how long did it take you to write the book? Like, what type of research did you put into it?
Well, the research for, music was there. It's just part of your living. Philadelphia it's an easy backdrop. Philadelphia, taking an observation of men and women over a period of years. You just sit down one day and want to pull back, and one of the emphasis for writing it was, what would a brother write, as his version of, 50 Shades of Grey. Brothers don't do that. So what would a brother write about, love and loving? A rich guy, well off, educated, what's his take on, what would be his take on, the equivalent of a 50 Shades of Grey, perhaps, or something in that genre. The brother's not into S&M and that guy. He just knows how to love you well.
Okay, the poem said that. The poem spoke to that, okay? So, and then with that, you went from children's book to romance. So, I don't know, if this was just something that you wanted to try to see if you could do it, you know what I'm saying? Or this is where your passion led. But at the same time, how difficult was it to pull those parts of the story out since you were transitioning from children's to adult fiction?
Actually, it was pretty easy because I think for me, writing is storytelling. So the ability to tell a story and put it in print, the difficult part was slowing yourself down, removing yourself from the everyday. Like I spoke to one interview and I said, well, you just got to pull back, you find that meditation, find that place where thought can come forth. It's like Jesus went into the wilderness, right? And Buddha set up under a tree and Muhammad went in a cave, but they all removed themselves from the everyday. So in doing that, perhaps that allows you to mentally, move yourself into the vast universe of thought and create something that speaks, that may have relevance. And I think it does have some relevancy about, relationship, how one should treat others, compassion, humility, those types of things. And you must find those. You must find compassion for others. You must find humility for others. You must find the humanity that exists. Life's not about profitability. It's about, for me anyway, it's not the zeros behind your names. It's the prosperity, that success for all, and prosperity for all. So, and it takes you off that grind of just, money seeking, because I think money, and I know as a background in economics, I know money is a byproduct of just doing something well in the capitalistic system. So, I mean, if you play ball well, you're gonna get paid.
That's right.
You do whatever well. So seek to do something well, and the byproduct is perhaps paychecks, celebrity, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that's the mission, and in addition to that, understanding your humanity, this oneness that exists in the universe that we so often remove ourselves from or don't think it exists, but it does, it's one consciousness. I can't hear you now.
Like, I have to press the mute button. This background could get kind of busy, okay?
All right, well, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, but go right ahead.
Oh, okay. As far as an author, in your favorite escapades in the book, which one stands out to you the most? And it doesn't have to be romantic, just one of those gratifying writes that you did.
Oh, clearly it's the one that talks about friendship. Harold Longston. The protagonist is in Cannes, real exclusive hotel, and he's going to meet some of his friends in the industry. These are older individuals, and some of them are older, some are about his age. They're all successful, and their wives or girlfriends are all successful, and they're already in Europe, and Harold and Lynn are there now, and so she's kind of nervous about seeing his friends. He's like, be cool, you're gonna have fun, but she said, but you take, and she makes a statement, you take things so light. I said, so Harold says, no, not really. Harold lets her know that the two things that he does not take lightly is love and friendship. In love, be a lover, and in friendship, be a friend. The planets are, the universe will be. So therefore, let love and friendship be forever.
Okay, I can see it. So he seems like a womanizer at first. Or would you consider him that, or someone who's...
No, I wouldn't consider him that. He's too busy working, but he is attracted to a couple of women, and he doesn't run after each and every one of them, but these two particular women in the book, he sees, and he's trying to find out which one would be, if in fact, the right one for him, but so he's going there, in all his maturity. I mean, he does business well. He's a philanthropist. Where he's at this point, I think, in his life, he's like, okay, perhaps I'll settle down again. You have that one relationship that wherever it goes that way, and then you like, let me start looking for the next one, and so. It's the old. I put a quote in there, an Einstein quote in there. Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Therefore God's hand is in everything. Mm-hmm. So he'll find his soulmate because things are not by coincidence. It's God's hand in everything.
Okay, I like that. So well thought of. Played. Well played.
Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Famous Einstein.
I like that. I'm going to put it in the post and coin it as your quote, since you're the one that told it to me.
I'll take that.
Are you doing live reads? Where can people go cop this book?
Well, the book is on Amazon, and the book's on Amazon, $14.95. It's on Kindle. It's in Kindle Bookstore for $7.99 as an ebook. The website is Author, Pierre G. Porter, as a Facebook. The website is www.pierregporter.com, which, is the website for the book. And quite a few testimonials there of women and men making their comments about 49 So 5. In fact, women really enjoy the book. I would say 9.5 out of 10 are like thumbs up for the book. So we're excited about that. Other women may see Harold as that playboy, that womanizer, and may not like his character. like one testimony, like one of the testimonies on the website, the lady says, it was a great read. Harold, you judge. Women, we know. But for me, I like Harold, and I wish I had one in my life, and even with all his bad habits. And I read the book twice.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was.
So there's a sizzle there, huh?
Oh, there's very much a sizzle to the book, especially in the first part of the book. It's that the second half starts evolving. There's consequences and blowback for maybe being too cavalier, not being conscious to the degree that one should, perhaps, of others' feelings. So there's some blowback, but I think he begins to rectify that ship and find his way. But along that, there's some drama, there's murder. There is. It's a story. It's 39 chapters, 324 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a story, and the website pierregporter.com speaks well about the book, I think, and the testimonial of the individuals. Has a little bit of background, about the author and the book itself. So it's a read. It's a read if you like that kind of novel that keeps you wanting to turn the page.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to people, and they are in the process now. They said, "You got a movie here." So I'm like, okay. So I was in Manhattan the other day, and you got a movie here. I'm serious, you got a movie here. So the book's that good. It unfolds just like a napkin, man. It's a good story. So I was thankful for that.
That's phenomenal. So, like, if it were turned into a movie, that would take a lot of work to trim it down. Did you consider that?
Yeah. I'm up for the challenge. I'm up for the challenge. And besides, you may write the story in a vacuum, but to polish a story to a level that is, let's call it literary quality, I think, and I hope we made it that. It takes a team, It takes eyeballs and professional talent, and all coming together with one goal, to give the book its and the story its best opportunity to tell a story and in a meaningful way, and hopefully you'll walk away saying, wow, was I in that story? Was that me? Or did I know someone like that? Yeah, and it's there. And it's some laughs. It's some laughs. Harold's a fun guy. Women find him fun. He's cultured, and he understands the streets, but he didn't come from the streets. So, yeah.
It made him witty.
Yeah, he is that. He is that. So are the women. Women are wittier than Harold.
I agree.
They are. I mean, one's from, one of them is from the projects and figured her way up out of the projects of North Philly, and another one's from a section of the city called Mount Airy, which has always been a traditional upper middle class middle class Black community, and you know, one's a Southern lady. Earlier in the book, named Bertha, a Southern beauty with Harold calls her a Southern beauty with a Southern name, but I love it.
Okay. Bertha is very different, but if she fine, okay. You ain't loving the name, you loving the person.
That and that's it, whatever God gave you, you learn to love it and work with it and make it be all that it can be, right?
Yes. Well, 49, so fine. It's kind of like that, what Barack said, men don't mature until 45. So, or I think when he won the election, that's what he said.
Yeah, something like that, sure.
So then with that being 49 years old, you set an age, you set a precedence, like, okay, now it's time to, before I turn 50, this is the goal in life. So I like
but he's mature. He's mature in many ways. He's just, he's a very mature man. He's just finding the one person to love, perhaps for a lifetime, and grow old and hold hands and walk by a pond. But he understands love and loving and responsibility, and he does that well. But it's like, if you can't find it, if you love someone for only 2 years in your life, and that was the best love of your life, you may not need to love anymore. That may have been enough for you. It's like some men or women don't get married again because that one was good enough for me. So I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did this book make you reevaluate love?
I reevaluate love. I think it helps to tell a story about love. Not so much reevaluate, but it helps to tell a story about love and one's responsibility to another. And sometimes you listen and sometimes you don't. But you can't, because you've been told and now you can't plead ignorance. He says, oh man, it's like, I wish I would have known that woman I loved, but I was too dumb and too young or whatever, and she just got away, and perhaps you'll find it again in life. So I think, and if that's what you want, I think you should go searching. Okay. And it's out there in this vast universe.
Okay, I love it. So again, you're such a joy, just very knowledgeable. I called you the love doctor.
Okay, I got some stories.
Well, to be able to write a book of such depth, you had to have known, that's a whole lifespan of knowledge that you put into a book, because you got to know your source. You got to know what you're talking about.
True.
So,
True.
49 So Fine did not just appear. It's not coincidence, like you said.
That is correct. That is correct. But it is a compilation of a lot of what you see and perhaps been involved in or sat on the fence and watch occur and say, that could have been different if perhaps one went down this avenue. It could have been different if one chose happiness as opposed to pleasure. Happiness and pleasure are two different things, and so I would rather go towards happiness. Pleasure tends to beget loneliness.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not speaking from experience. So again, tell our readers your website information and where they can follow you on Instagram to stay up to the minute.
Instagram is Pierre G Porter. Facebook is author Pierre G Porter, and the website is www.pierregporter.com, which is a website. It's a great read. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and about myself and as an author and creating a publishing company called Lotus 1016 Publishing. And this book is basically the platform to springboard that company and the opportunity in the future to have other writers who, in this particular genre or other genre, can have an outlet. So hopefully I'll be able to provide that opportunity in the near future and go from there.
When did you start the publishing company?
Well, the publishing, I started the children publishing company a couple years ago, September Writer, and published the children's stories up under it. Lotus 1016 obviously is for an adult genre. So, but those are the two entities. And largely I started the publishing company because I started a foundation called whytype2diabetes.org. You can go to the website whytype2diabetes.org to address all this epidemic essentially that exists, largely among Black children and children of color and children in general. I mean, this American diet is like patience. There's a consciousness that has to be, shocked, and parents and children need to understand that. So the publishing piece will publish a lot of material that will disseminate free to schools, daycares, the internet about eating well, and the importance of it, and the dangers of type 2 diabetes. It's over half the population has diabetic problems.
Right.
So it's a concern, but it's something that can be fixed. So, but we got to want to do it, like in all things. If we find if we seek humanity first instead of profitability, as to say, I don't care, I just want dough, but at what cost? As the old folks say, all money ain't good money.
Thanks.
So you got to learn to walk away from not good money and do what's right, because it only has its consequences.
Right.
Harold finds that out and not paying, perhaps trying to be too romantic in life, and it has consequences. Health has consequences, and but perhaps a guy flying over the city and on his way to Palm Beach and not driving through the city, seeing the problems, then they will never change. So perhaps the wealthy needs to drive through the city and see the despair, and perhaps and then we as the populace, which are the numbers, should bring them to task and say, hey, listen, there's an imbalance here, and try to rectify the imbalance, and perhaps at that point we'll get more prosperity in the world. As I say, there's not too many people in the world, it's just too much inequality in the world.
Right.
Even with 6-7 billion people, it's not too many people in the world, it's just too much inequality in the world.
I love it. So you are a doctor, okay?
No. just a guy who's trying to understand that, humanity is required of all of us, we find it. We have fun. We have all the fun. We can turn up whatever, but at the end of the day, as my father would say, son, you got to learn to help.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's not being taught as much, or it didn't become a big thing until the pandemic. Until we sat down and we're like, okay, well, this is out here, so how do we fix it?
Yeah, that's right. That's
Mm-hmm.
right. And Harold, in 49 So Fine, he fixes things.
Mm-hmm.
He's a businessman. He's the focused guy. Okay, I'm out of sync. I got to get back in sync. He fixes things, and as you, especially as you get to the second half of the book, he fixes things. Harold is like, he's ex-military, he fixes things. And,
He's
so
the man with the plan, okay?
he's a man that, you know, women, many women would like, and some may not like me because no, you know, I just don't like men like that, or, you know, I got a brother like that. But some women will like a man like that. But at the end of the day, it's not so much judging Harold is trying to grasp from the story what the story is saying. You know? And that's any and everyone's perception of how they read it. And some will like it, some won't, but I think the majority will, because it speaks to something.
Or it depends on which character they fall in love with.
That's very true. That's very true. And there's a few that they will love, and maybe one or two that they may not like. But you know, they're in the book. You know, they're in the book, and I don't want to give too much of it away. I like just have it unfold as you read it. But I think that, you know, the second half is fun, and it's that kind of loving, and then the second half it's drama. You know, it's like, wow, whoa.
Intrigue.
Yes, a little bit of that, and then there's like glamour. It's like, you know, they're in the city of Cannes, and there is the city of lovers and romance and film.
Okay. It's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you know, he's so he's you know, Harold's he's a well-off guy. He's and yeah, I guess he made his money the old-fashioned way here.
Old money.
No, you know, old money, but money not so much from old, but from old friends who had, and then, you know, you want to go this way.
Mm-hmm.
And those individuals, those older men are in the story, you know, towards the latter end of the story that, you know, he appreciates and admires. You know, and, you know, he admires women, and like he had this muse in the book, and again, she's like an old jazz singer, you know, and she's like his consciousness that helps him, you know. Yeah, you could talk to yourself, but why not talk to a muse, right?
Right, that's right. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, so he has, you know, he has a muse, and the ladies are like, well, what makes you so special?
Right.
that you have a muse, Harold. Because I don't know, but I got one.
The one that stands out. That's the muse.
Pardon me?
The one that stands out. That's the muse.
Yeah. So it's you know, it's 324 pages.
Check that out.
Yeah.
That very adult book.
it's an adult easy read. You know, one lady commented that it's a very easy read, and she enjoyed it. And again, she was like, okay. Does Harold want his cake and ice cream, or what does Harold want?
What does Harold want?
Is he in love, or is he just lusting? And other women are like, I don't really care. Harold's cool. You know, I need a Harold in my life.
Okay, girls.
This is what if you go to the website, these are the testimonials that you know, they're writing in, and you know,
right. From the thoughts of a man, so that is very intriguing.
Yeah. You know, but you know, hey, a man knows love. A man loves his mother. He comes from a woman. So a man probably understands love, perhaps more than a woman. Right. Because he seeks his mother's love. You know, and now as an adult, he seeks that in a woman, and the woman's conscious of it, fine, if she has the right spirit and understanding. Right. You know, it clicks, but a man comes from, we all. But a man is, you know, I think a man is, you know, what did OJ say when he, he said, man, call my mother, where's my mother?
That guy.
Yeah, right, I didn't need to bring that.
Well, even OJ wanted his mother, okay?
That's what I'm saying.
Lord be offense.
I have this old saying, nobody loves you but your mother.
That's right. Nobody gonna love you like your mother, that's for sure.
So if you tear your butt so that your mother don't even like you, you really need to check yourself, right?
You really need to check yourself. And
Your mother's the last one to get off the ship with you.
That's right. She is. And she'll tell people not to get on that ship too.
Well, that's true. That's true, but she won't get off.
Right.
She won't get off with you, you know, until you just, oh, wait a minute, no, you're wrong now.
Correct it.
But you know, she'll ride with you.
Right. Big facts.
The old man said, "No, son, you know better. You should have known better."
Well, he's not going to explain it in detail the way she's going to break it down.
Oh, that's right. You know,
Yeah.
That's a mother's love, right?
Right. She's going to explain it.
You know, and the key is, and a good mother will not allow that to destroy the development of a male child.
That's right.
Too much of it could destroy the development of a child.
That's right.
For adulthood.
You are a doc. Okay. So thank you so much. Had a blast. And
I did too.
we'll be seeing you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
49 So Fine on Amazon and Kindle Store.
I'm getting ready to follow you on Instagram, and 49 So Fine. I'm going to buy it. How about that?
Thank you very much. Take care.
You're welcome.
All right.